I was wondering if it would be worthwhile for someone to just walk us through a couple of build reports. Maybe, Hervé, did you want to maybe share your screen, or maybe that's not a convenient thing for you at the moment?
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky here. I mean, in a weird place with very poor internet.
Try.
A lot of things going on around me.
So let's see, I'll probably make a mess of this, but here we are on the home page again. And then in this developer box, there are various developer resources, including the build reports. And you can see, so all software packages are built each night in the release branch and in the development branch. And there's a build report that describes these things. So if you were to look in if you'd made a new change to your package and wanted to see how it was doing, you'd make the change one day. The builds run on a nightly basis, and you'll see up here that let's see, we've got the snapshot date. This is when the build started on 7/29 at 14:50 in some time zone, and then the build report came out on 7:30, about 22 hours or 23 hours later. So every night the build report goes. If you'd made a commit before this date and time, then the effects of that commit would be revealed here. I don't know if there's a good example. I think this annotation DBI package was had a recent change, and when Kayla made the change, I think it's this commit. When she made that change, she bumped the version to 151.3, and then it's actually been several days, so it's included in this build report. And you can see we've built across Linux, Windows, and Mac. And there have been several steps: an install, a build, and a check. And if we looked at one of these guys, maybe that check, clicking on that link, there's the command that was run. It was our command check of the annotation DBI. And then this is the output of our command check, and it says, hey, we looked at all of these things, and everything except for this seemed to go well. And actually this seems like a note that could be fixed in release 151.4, and then that's great. But the end result is there are 2 notes, but no warnings or errors. So the build report says, okay, this package built well. And then just going back to the build report and maybe setting it down here, you'll notice that there are these little LED lights here, and they're actually different flavors of LED lights. Blue means we built the package last night, it passed, but it's no different, not a different version from the one from the night before. And green means actually the version of the package changed, but it also passed the install, build, check commands. And so we need to push a new version of the package to the public repository. And red means, well, there's a new version of the package, but it failed to build, and so we didn't. That's not right. It means that the package. I was going to say it meant that the package failed to build, but I think it actually means that, for instance, there's a new. There are changes to the package, but no version bump, or actually now I've got myself all confused about what those red LEDs mean.
So I think that when the package fails to build, there's no lead at all. So there's no question about whether we need to propagate the package or not. But if the package is candidate for propagation, in the sense that it passed build and check successfully, it might still be blocked from propagating if propagation will result in impossible dependencies. That means that if the package requires a version of another package, that is not going to make it to the public repository, for example. So you would end up with something in the public repository that you cannot install, even though the package was valid.
I see, yes.
And as long as you were there really quick, because there is a poll question, and I know there are a couple not supported on the build site. And the poll question was, how about Windows support? Is there a strong commitment to keep Windows as a first-class OS in BioC? How many packages currently exclusively work on Unix? And is there any policy enforcing a new package to support both OSs?
Right. So once this settles down, yeah, so ANMAP is an example of not supported. So yeah, I guess, so maybe someone wants to walk us through what that means.
So when a package goes into Bioconductor, we try as strongly as possible to get a package on all three platforms, Mac, Windows, and OS. There are, I would say, very few packages, a handful of packages maybe, that only work on Unix, because we feel like a lot of researchers, I think at some point we kind of threw out a number of, probably almost half, are probably working on a Windows platform, and you'll isolate them from using your package if you don't support it on Windows. So we do encourage packages submitted to Bioconductor to work on all three whenever you could actually get them working on all three. There are exceptions, so we do make exceptions where they could only work on one platform, but it is discouraged.
And for how long we intend to support Windows? That's a good question. I don't know, but maybe the technical advisory board has some thoughts about this.
It's so much fun. I wouldn't want to give it up.
Yeah, you're right.
And one of the surprising things is that a large fraction of at least the visitors to the support site and the package downloads are to Windows, say like 50% of the downloads. So by not supporting Windows or producing a package that doesn't work on Windows, you're losing half your audience.
Yeah.
Maybe that changes with like Docker containers and so on. And maybe in the future, there'll be less need to support multiple platforms. We'll just support like the Bioconductor Docker image.
Right. So just to add one more thought to the description Martin gave about how the build system works and like where you can check things. There's a workshop from a couple of years ago, 2017, I think. And I pasted the link in the chat. Most of it is still relevant, but it's essentially what Martin described in a very comprehensive way right now, if people want to go back and look at it.
I think we're at our last couple of minutes. I know one came in through the poll. Any chance that there will be HTML documentation instead of PDF? Example via page down.
I'm not sure that I understand exactly, but I think it's because the person who asked the question uses documentation way different from me, but I guess they mean the reference manual, because of course the vignettes are often in HTML. So I wasn't exactly sure. Maybe if someone wanted to clarify what was meant by that.
Yes,
Maybe.
so I asked the question, so you're absolutely right. I meant the man pages.
The man pages, yeah.
Yes, sorry for the...
It's probably a good question for base R, and we'd follow their lead.
I mean, that requires packages to be on like GitHub or some location, right? Which would be somewhat problematic for us if we have packages like our legacy packages that were SVN that don't have some sort of public-facing repository besides what's in Bioconductor right now, right? Or maybe I'm misunderstanding how they're generated or working. I will mention we are at time, so if anyone needed to pop off to see the start of the lightning talks while we reflect on this for a couple of minutes and close out with it, but just so everyone's aware of time. But.
Thanks, Lori. I mean, I guess there's, you can already, one can already generate HTML from the man pages. And so it's really, whether there's a convenient way to collate all of those pages, for instance, with package down, I guess. Yeah, it's a really good question.
Well, thank you. We encourage everyone to come back. We have another one tomorrow. Please think of some questions. We would love questions. We'll come up with stuff if we need to, but we would love more community questions and get what you're dying to ask us. See y'all tomorrow.